her comments, because the president gave a press conference yesterday. I thought we were going to get a lot more answers out of him about exactly what happened in Libya, but he did what others have done in his administration and just basically said, Michelle, that it's under investigation, so he's really not going to go there right now.
Yeah, he did the tap dance. He did it well, and the reason why we didn't get more answers, of course, is because there weren't enough questions asked, unfortunately. And then, of course, he spent a lot of that time doing his macho, stay away, don't you touch Susan Rice finger wagging, which I found extraordinary because this woman was put out there. And I thought the part of his statement where he specifically said she was sent at the behest of the White House.
Yeah, good point. Michelle, for folks who have not yet seen it, we have scrambled the video team. We've got the soundbite in question. Here he is responding to something that Lindsey Graham and also John McCain had said earlier in the day, where they would do anything they could to stop her from becoming the next Secretary of State. Here's the president.
Let me say specifically about Susan Rice. She has done exemplary work. She has represented the United States and our interests in the United Nations with skill and professionalism and toughness and grace. As I've said before, she made an appearance at the request of the White House in which she gave her best understanding of the intelligence that had been provided to her. If Senator McCain and Senator Graham and others want to go after somebody, they should go after me. And I'm happy to have that discussion with them. But for them to go after the UN ambassador, who had nothing to do with Benghazi, and was simply making a presentation based on intelligence that she had received.
Who had nothing to do with Benghazi.
To besmirch her reputation
Let's listen to Michelle.
Is outrageous.
There you go. All right. You were saying.
Yeah. Here's what's outrageous, that he admitted that this woman had nothing to do with Benghazi, had basically been given a set of talking points and appeared on nearly a half-dozen shows, and now does not want to be held accountable for the words that came out of her mouth. I mean, this human shield strategy that he wants to have it both ways on. And there's a backstory here with McCain and Susan Rice and President Obama, because a couple of years ago, and you can go back and look at and revisit this history, which I think is interesting context, Susan Rice had called out John McCain for making a statement in defense of Georgian residents who were outraged at a Russian incursion across their border. And she blamed McCain for the violence there and for some rather ambiguous statements that had come out of the White House. And she used the same exact thematic talking points that we're hearing now. Well, this was the best intelligence we had at the time. Where was Obama at the time? Flying in a plane to Hawaii. It seems like we see the same echoes of diffidence, incompetence, cover-up, and then finger-pointing at the Republican Party when they start asking the questions that the media is not asking.
Does that earn her the ability to be the next Secretary of State?
It certainly does not. Not only do we have to revisit incidents and anecdotes like that, but of course her entire tenure during the Clinton administration, first as a National Security Council aide in 1993, and then as Assistant Secretary of State for the African Affairs Department, where she has made interesting statements in the wake of the embassy bombings in Africa after that. You know, the thing is, there's such a leftward surge and tilt now to this administration. They feel they have the mandate to just go all out, you know, full Monty in their anti-American and very dangerous and reckless security
I think there's a great story behind the scenes on why we never saw any of his terror and security team, from the CIA to James Clapper to John Brennan. We didn't see any of those guys. We still have not seen them, and they still sending out the supporting players that are memorizing talking points.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle, I'm sure you caught it, but, you know, the president has not answered questions from the press in the East Room for at least 8 months, and I think they kind of miss him. Here's Christy Parson from the Chicago Tribune. Watch this, Valentine.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations, by the way. One quick follow-up.
Was there when I was running for state senate.
That's right, I was.
Christy and I go back a ways.
I've never seen you lose. I wasn't looking that one time.
There you go.
There you go, sitting right next to Ed Henry, who asked a really hard question. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, well, you know, the lapdog media is at it again. They put the lap in lapdog, and they put the sick in sycophant. Where was her drool bucket? That's what I want to know. But we've seen these kind of emotive public displays of really, I think, malpractice, journalistic malpractice and affection for their man in the White House. And I would contrast it with this. There's a local reporter here in Colorado Springs who's asking pesky questions of an Obama administration official, Ken Salazar. And you know what happens to journalists who actually do their job? They get threatened to be punched.
Heard that.
That's how this administration always works, always has been.
Michelle, thank you very much for joining us on this Thursday. Have a great week. See you back here next week.
You bet. Take care.